So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this VCK Quality Talk with Sunil Thawani. Thanks for being with us today. We're going to talk about customer journeys. And before we start, I'd like to ask you to keep the webcam cams and microphones off until after the presentation. After the presentation, you will be invited to turn your webcams back on and join us in discussing the subjects that you'll have heard during the presentation. So a little bit of information on our speaker today. It will be Sunil Thawani. Sunil Thawani is an author, a speaker, and a board member and fellow of ASQ, the American Society for Quality. He has assisted many organizations from diverse sectors of the economy to implement principles and frameworks like EFQM to improve performance, customer experience, governance, and much more. And today he will discuss how customer journeys affect the customer experience through examples and methods, and how quality can have this life-changing impact. So as I said, you're welcome to join us after Mr. Thawani's presentation by turning on your cameras and asking questions in person. And this way we can create a little discussion at the end and talk face to face. You will also get a little email with some extra details and a little feedback form on the Quality Talk of today. To our members, I'd like to inform them that the next Quality Talk will be on Thursday, the 22nd of April, and will be on circular economy solutions and practices in organizations, and it will be presented by quality expert Tani Järvinen from Finland. So now I'll leave the presentation to Sunil, and I wish you a really interesting webinar.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Thomas and Anne and Lance Centrum World Quality for giving me the opportunity to share my experience on customer journeys, customer experience. In this talk, I will also be sharing with you some experiences of people I have worked with on the social sector. You see, we quality professionals have been dedicating our passion, energy, knowledge in the corporate world, helping organizations enhance performance, more competitive, reduce cost. At times, they don't touch the lives of the people. So I'll share with you one or two good examples around how we have used these strategies for children in alternate care. So the purpose is to demonstrate the successful application of quality strategies, techniques in social organization with greater focus on how customer journeys are critical and essential to enhance customer experience. So our landscape is changing very rapidly. There was a time in 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, there was tremendous focus on product features. They are still very important. But due to rapid technological development, organizations are able to quickly copy the products and come out with their own products within few weeks, months. And if you look at the service sector, let's say a bank develops a new structured note, within 3-4 days, another bank can copy and develop a similar, a near similar feature. So, but slowly in the last 30 years, the focus has been shifting on service actually. You see, with the knowledge economy and with global collaboration and living in a borderless world, more and more jobs are getting created in the service sector. And that has also brought a lot of women into the employment industry. Another major shift which is happening is instead of just chasing new customers, organizations are trying to serve and retain their existing customers as much as possible. Serve them better so they don't switch loyalties. Otherwise, it's like a leaky bucket. Now we keep filling it, but from the bottom, customers are leaving us, and to acquire new customers is expensive. Different studies say 3 times and 5 times and 14 times, depending on what industry we are in. So due to the lot of technological advances and moving beyond customer satisfaction, the overall experience has come in the limelight in the last 10 years or so. Today, if you drive a car, it's given that its performance will be smooth, braking will be good, there'll be no noise, but the whole experience of driving it, navigating it, listening to the music, connecting to the Bluetooth and GPS and so on and so forth is being used to differentiate the products and services and gain competitive advantage. McKinsey says organizations who are able to differentiate and to beat the competition on customer experience are also able to earn more profit margins. So successful organizations, there are many like Ritz-Carlton, Lexus, and so on and so forth, Uber, and even some of the movies. I had opportunity to see one serial which is very, very popular, Crash Landing on You. It's a Korean serial. Absolutely beautiful. The acting, the photography, the dialogue, the story, the script, the twist, the dialogues. The whole experience is so beautiful. I started sharing with others and then even watching it again. So successful businesses, organizations know they are in customer experience business. Let me start with a beautiful example, actually. Some of you may have heard about this Project Sunrise. This is a Qantas Australian airline. They've planned to launch a commercial flight in 2022, which would be the longest non-stop flight for 16,000 kilometers, covering over 19 and a half hours. New York to Sydney, record breaking on Dreamliner. Now, you see, a lot of us used to travel a lot. Hopefully soon, world will become better and we'll start traveling from summer onwards. It's a back-breaking, soul-crunching trip, long-distance flights. There was a time I used to fly from Dubai to Chicago almost 4 to 5 times a year. And by the time you get out, you're like a zombie. So what this airline did was they wanted to design the customer experience and study the effects of long flights. So what they did, they converted this test flight into a flying laboratory. So what they did, they designed the experiment. They put 40 people, passengers and the crew. They were testing their blood pressures, their moods, their oxygen levels throughout the flight. So what they did when they took off, the first thing they did was let's hook on to the Sydney time. The flight took off from New York and it was like afternoon in Sydney. First thing is to move the time clock, your watches, to the Sydney time. Second thing was to not let them sleep. So they put on the lights quite bright and they said, try not to go to sleep. And they served a meal which was hot, chili prawns and other thing, which will fire them up. So 2 hours into the flight, they were given this meal so that they remain awake. 4 hours into the flight, there was a professor from University of Sydney, Professor Mary Collin. So she started some, stretching exercises and little dancing things at the back of the aircraft. Then after 7 hours, they wanted passengers to go to sleep. So they served them with heavy carbohydrate meal, potato soup and so on and so forth. And they dim the light so that they go on to the sleep. In between, their pulse, their heartbeat were checked, and they were even monitoring their questionnaire, their mood. And then they realized their blood pressure was going up initially, which is an indicator of your fatigue and so on and so forth. So after 14 hours, when they woke up after 6 hours of sleep, they again monitored. Blood pressures were fine, moods were brighter, they enlightened the whole internal environment and so on. And just before landing, another set of instructions. So when they landed after 19 hours, then they started monitoring them even after a couple of days. Could they go to work? How were they feeling? How quickly they could fit into the new time zones? The experience, the whole story I'm sharing with you is essentially customer experience doesn't happen by chance. Organization needs to think from the customer point of view, design the experiments, and then move accordingly. Now, what is customer experience? The first thing I thought is let me have a definition so that we in the organization have a shared understanding, a common understanding. I picked up this definition after a bit of research. Short and long-term interaction and relationships between an organization's product, service, brand communication, and its customers. Whether we are interacting with the organization through mobile app, through face-to-face meetings, and how the customer is using the products, how they are disposing the product, after sales service, and so on and so forth. Right. So this includes not only employees, even the stationery, even the look and feel of the fonts. Every minute detail is looked at. How the messages are communicated. You know, there is a hotel here in Dubai, is based on French Polynesian island. So whenever you communicate with them, they won't say hello, they say aloha. That's a greeting from the Polynesian. So they start building that experience from start. Now, knowing customer experience is not enough. There was a survey done a couple of years back by Gartner, whereas 81% of the leaders from the marketing who are responsible for building and delivering customer experience, they said they totally want, commit, and want to do that, whereas only 22% had done some action on that. So Thomas has put in a small little poll. We want to know what's happening in your organization. Over to you, Paul. Have you developed a vision for the customer experience for various segments of your customers? Good. We got 13 responses. It's good to see. 3 have done it, and 7 are under progress. That's very nice to know that. Yeah. Okay. So another poll will come as we progress forward. Thomas, can we close this, please? So these are the results we have.
Yeah.
Okay, about 10 are, yes, and under development. That's a good number, almost 65% or so. Good. Can we close the poll and I can move on, Thomas?
There you go. You should be able to move on.
Okay. Okay, super. So how do I get out of, yeah, got it, yeah. Okay, now one small critical message here is we also have a competition, and differentiation is very critical. This is one of the key learning I personally had. It's not enough to just have customer experience strategy. It should help us differentiate us from the competition. That's where the competitive advantage will emerge. Yeah. Now, what it takes to deliver the customer experience. It has several components. I have just listed the main ones over here. It doesn't happen overnight. Leadership, sustained leadership is very, very critical to customer experience. Once leadership is committed over a period of time and commit resources and people and so on, you need to have a well-defined strategy for that. The vision for the customer experience need to be clearly articulated from the customer point of view, simple, easy, where employees are connected to it. They can relate to their work. What can I do to enhance customer experience? We don't need big motherhood statements. Yeah. Then mapping, managing customer journeys. I'll come to this a little later. Technology to transform the experience. Now, these days, technology is totally transforming. Though we have been living in borderless world for a long time, but COVID has pushed us to adopt digital technologies in much, much faster way. And technology, the whole ERPs and interconnectedness and all these things have made a huge impact. Innovation, then bridging service quality gaps. I hope some of you know or are using, are fully aware of the ServQual model developed by Professor Valerie Parshuraman, Leonard Berry, and Zethamel. It gives 5 places where typically the service falls. It's very important to understand our service delivery vis-a-vis the model and bridge those gaps. And of course, build competencies to the people, motivate them, empower them, and inspire them. So each has a big piece in itself. I'll just now focus more on customer journeys. Yeah. Now, mastering customer journey is absolutely essential to enhance customer experience. Here I have just broadly put a very high-level picture of what are the major steps they go through and do that, right from need generation to the usage. I mean, it's time is I'm just 45 minutes with you. So this presentation is available with the team, with Mr. Thomas. I'm sure you'll have access to it. So let me give you some real life example. I was on a flight from Amsterdam to Chicago in Delta flight. The moment I got the seat, I started pulling out the magazines. I see this customer journey, settling in, giving a pillow, blanket, sleeping kits, Wi-Fi, first services, they give you hot towel, meal, beverage, water, then hot towel on the pre-arrival, and so on and so forth. This is the simplest of the simplest customer journey I wanted to share with you. Let's go. Now, I was engaged by a government department that take care of children who don't have parents, children with alternate care. The organization was going through a major transformation. They wanted to, understand what really the customers are doing, what they want, how can we serve them better, automate, digitize the services, review policy procedures, and so on and so forth. So when I started the interaction with them, just to understand who are your customers, I got different replies. Let me give you a context. If any child is found by the police or by some organization, they go to the police and then police connects with this organization. Now, this child can be just few months old to 2 years to 4 years and 6 years and so on. Due to their parental situation, maybe some are got affected due to crime or in jail or they ran away, and whatever be the reasons, parents died or had separation. So when we understood the scope of services, they will take care of the child from the day they get it till the child becomes youth, adult, gets married, and beyond. The complete life cycle of a child, from infant to full independence. Asked them, do you have a customer journey? He said, yeah, we have. So they had a customer journey, only 6 steps. But when we went into the detail, I will show you this screen you cannot read. I've taken a better screenshots. We had some 45 steps, and these were also reasonably high level. Red is where the major milestone is there. Just to give you an idea, children of all ages, infant to secondary education, youth education, adult, employment, until you get into the social inclusion, right? So when we did that, we had a lot of problems. They said, Sunil, are we mapping our processes? I said, no. Then we had difficulty agreeing on the customer journey. It took us about 2 months to do this. And then once we did that, they were very clear who is contributing what at different stages of the customer life cycle. Instead of thinking my department, they were saying, okay, there's a department who does counseling for higher education. Says, oh, I fit in here. Somebody is processing scholarships. Somebody is processing fees for extra tuition classes. Somebody is processing their extracurricular activities, swimming lessons, or somebody is trying to help them get jobs, get them housing. So they all could connect to the customer. Now this is a broader picture you will see, just to give you a greater. So at the top is the life stage, customer, child, youth, or adult from here. Then the journey, receive communication about the child from the institute. Now this is the department who is serving this particular stage. Child affairs department, family care department, child affairs, like that. And then we also mapped external department who will help achieve this customer stage. For example, they'll find a child who doesn't know his or her name, identity, nothing. So they will arrange his or her name, birth certificate, passport, vaccination record, and so on. So they have to contact different agencies, citizenship authority, or so on and so forth. So in one sheet, we could see the different stages, the customer, the journey, department, and external. Now this is a bigger, better snapshot of the same thing. Receive communications. So this department will receive details of the child in need for family care. Review the case. They'll review the case as per the organization mandate rules. Will they be accepted or they need to be given to another agency and so on. Okay. And now here, there's a provider organization, there'll be a police report, medical report, so on and so forth. Just to give you a snapshot here. Now this is very advanced customer journey. This is what the customer activities are there, customer goals, touch points, experience. Now this is my actual experience for this stage on a scale to 5. This clearly tells me I need to improve this stage first. Then we got the business goal. What are the KPIs? What are the organization tasks to achieve this? And who's the owner of that? The message I'm giving to you is customer journeys can be as simple as I showed you from the Delta flight to as detailed and a lively document where we can keep tracking our KPIs and performance against that. So with this, I have another poll for you. I hand over to Mr. Thomas for the second poll.
So the poll has launched. Sorry for the little delay. All right. Mr. Thawani, can I ask you to to relaunch your camera, please? And I hope he's still there.
Yeah, you can come. I opened it. Sorry.
I can hear him. I'm sorry, we're having a little technical difficulty. I'm just going to join the camera.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're back.
Yeah.
Fortunately, all right, great. So we also have the results of the poll.
Beautiful.
So I'm going to share them with you right now. There you go.
Oh, beautiful. So we have 7 have mapped it. 5 good. Very nice to know that. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Can we move on, Thomas?
Yep.
Super. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Now, I also want to share with you, of course, this is not new. I'm sure a lot of you people know. This was the work done by Dr. Juran on what is important to customer versus how much we are satisfying to them on that element of what is critical to them. One of the airports in the United States did a major project on improving customer experience. So what they did was they mapped the satisfaction of the customer on what is important to them. Now you clearly see here, number one, let's say restrooms, cleanliness, availability. It was very important to customer, but they were able to satisfy them only 65% of that, or 70%. Number 4, entertainment for long traveling passengers is very critical for them, but they were not satisfying. So is item 1, 2, 3, 4 is very important to the customer, especially 1 and 4, but their airport was not satisfying them. So the key message here is we must know what is more important to the customer in the entire experience and then focus more on that first. Yeah. Now, some of the key insights of what I have been sharing so far is map the journey end to end. End to end means from the moment the job arises in the mind of the customer till the whole experience is over, like, till using the product or disposal of the product and so on. For example, I've moved into a new town, let's say Tubize in Belgium, and I want to furnish it. So from that moment to start searching the furnishing shops, should I go to IKEA or somewhere else? And to be mapped from the customer point of view. In the journey, identify all the touch points where we are touching the customer, and then ensure the communication in the right format happens. Identify all the stakeholders, internal and external, as I just showed you, which department and then the external entities. Digitization is really playing an important role, but when the customer is in trouble, they don't need automation. I'll share with you one of my known person's daughter traveled recently to Canada, just 10 days back. So there, due to COVID, on arrival, you got to quarantine yourself 3 days in a hotel by paying 2,000 Canadian dollars. Now she's sitting in India. She cannot book the hotel easily. They have to make a call. She waited 3 hours. The guys will not respond. And the portal was not working. And now she cannot travel without having this facility or approval of the accommodation and self-quarantine. If something breaks down, customer wants to talk to a person, not always to the machine. Now, I'm sure some of you must be in B2B environment also, business to business. These are some of the critical insights for B2B. B2B journeys are typically more complex than B2C, because here is not only the procurement department, the marketing department of the two businesses, technical people, engineering people, stores, inventory, finance, they all get involved in. And these journeys are long and complicated and technical in nature, involving people from different departments. And it doesn't end and start and end in one go. They go on for weeks, months, years and years. It can be long term, like McDonald's and Coca-Cola. Years and years of engagement is there. And they will vary from individual customer need. Take for example, a tire company supplying tires to different automobile and different models of the cars produced. They need to be tailor cut. Lot of trust-based driven. A lot of organizations run into strategic partnership. I'll share with you, I had opportunity to work for a government agency which was supporting social housing, giving loans to the needy people for housing. The loans were being given through a commercial bank. Government will only approve who gets what. Now the disbursement of loan was becoming very difficult actually. We wanted service, bank wanted profits. So we ran into serious challenges of pricing and all that. So it has to be a mutually beneficial engagement. It should give cost efficiency advantage and all that. Overall benefit is mapping customer journeys will enhance transparency, improve the communication, build accountability. It's very, very clear. In other organizations, we entered into MOUs and SLAs, Memorandum of Understanding and Service Level Agreements with external stakeholders to ensure service levels and customer journeys are simplified. For example, with this bank, we asked them to develop a mobile app so that customer can monitor and track the payments received and so on and so forth. So develop KPIs, build people capabilities. You see, once the customer journey is clear, we know at what stage, what employee capabilities are needed. And then we can all be united, have a shared common vision of serving our customers. And then customer journeys can be used as a starting point for bringing innovation. These are good, I read McKinsey research on this. They've given, how do we improve the customer experience efforts. I mean, a lot of it I've covered already. Define clear customer experience aspiration, shared understanding what is important to the customer to improve the journey, behavioral part, that's very critical. Innovate, digitize, then empower people, and then have metrics in place. It's just 7:36. I got just 10-12 minutes. I'll just be close to the end. I also want to share this experience of serving a social sector, the children with alternate care. See, this is a typical cycle. We all know that. We have been using it, I'm sure. So what we did there was to understand the customer need. We did focus groups. We spoke with caregivers, social worker, youth, adult, foster families, girl child, boy child, and so on and so forth. And then only we developed the customer journey maps from the customer point of view. So the segmentation was done on a totally different thing rather than only demographics. You see, generally a lot of organizations use demographics to do segmentation, which may not always be appropriate. Then based on customer needs and customer journeys, we designed the services and we developed a detailed service card, title of the service, description of the service, for which segment this service is given for. Is it G2G, government to government, government to business, government to customer, who's the owner, delivery channels of the kiosk, mobile app, face-to-face, and so on, any fees to be paid, number of steps, costing of the service, what are the measures. We used EFQM model to decide the measures of performance for this. Then we designed the policy, processes, and automation to deliver those services. You see, essentially, we identified there was a disconnect between customer need, service given, and the processes. So this 4 months of work was essentially to align the needs to the services to the policy, and then proceed with automation. And then we designed the feedback, customer listening mechanisms. And for the next year, we also referred to a beautiful document published by United Nations, guidelines for children in alternative care as a benchmark. Yeah. So the piece I've shown you about the customer journey was part of this project or this study. So concluding thought, knowing customer experience is important but not enough. Determine what great experience for customer looks like, understand the gaps, as I said, on the service quality, ServQual model, define the vision. Not all drivers of satisfaction contribute equally to the satisfaction. And more important, number 6 is do it. Execution is very critical. Now, this execution should not be one time. It has to be integrated into the routine work in our processes, policies, standards, and so on. Automation. In the social housing, if I want to tell you the impact, you'll be surprised. It sounds simple, but very complicated behind. They look at the applicant's health record, financial record, legal, land ownership, disputes on land, so on and so forth, liabilities, and so on and so forth. It used to take them anywhere between 3 months to 6 months to register for housing benefit. It was totally transformed to 5 minutes, from months to minutes. Because behind the government was interconnected, so all the customer data was downloaded on a platform, and the customer has to only use his ID card. And then we know his status, his legal, demographic, social, financial, judicial status. And that was fed into prioritizing the housing. You can have radical approach to improve customer experience or make it incremental, depend on what stage of your organization is. And it's a mindset, begins with the employees. And doing it once is not enough. As Professor Nariaki Kono said, what excites the customer today will become the minimal norm tomorrow. So with this, I have completed the talk. We will come to the questions. I just need 4 more minutes. It is an appeal now. This is nothing to do with the talk. I'm sure we all know, and your organization or you are individually aware of these things. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. It impacts us, it affects us. You see, the cost of implementing this across the world is billions of dollars. Quality strategy, tools, and techniques can help institutions and organizations committed on SDGs to reduce the cost of implementation. So I urge you, request you, I've been doing this championing for a long time. I've been actively involved with the United Nations SDGs, and also I've been attending their public service events and have contributed to them. It's a beautiful document. So you may find something of interest for you, and you may like to connect, contribute, and get involved in it. Lastly, I want to share something very personal, my lovely memories of visiting Belgium long back. In 1984, I traveled all over the world on a motorcycle. 25 countries, 50,000 kilometers on road, and I happened to also visit Belgium. So I met a gentleman, Mr. Pierre Berger. He wouldn't speak English. I wouldn't understand French or Dutch. He just gave me a date and a place. He says, Sunil, just go there. You love it. So this is the place. This place is Ranst. I don't know if I pronounced clearly, R-A-N-S-T, Ranst. So here you have a weekly motorcycle gathering club. And this is Marianne Dubust. She was the secretary of the motorcycle club. And behind you see motorcyclists, people from all over Europe. The moment we drove in, we were treated like guests, VVIPs. Everybody wanted to know how has been our journey from India on a 350cc small bike. And they treated us extremely well, 2 days of fun, and we made a lot of friends. These are the people, they fixed our bike. They repaired and serviced our bike without charging us anything. These are the friends we made there, and here we got a trophy. Now this lady, Linda, she visited us in India after that. And this is 1984. And then in 1990, I again visited this village of Reims, met some other people, and I stayed with a friend in Toulouse, Quebec. And then, of course, I've traveled the whole of Belgium. So I have beautiful, lovely, fond memories of Belgium. So with this, I hand over to Thomas for Q&A. It's been an absolute pleasure to share my experience with you.
All right, thank you, Sunil, for that last anecdote. I think it's really nice. So I'd like to ask all participants if they'd like to join us through putting on the camera. Maybe leave the microphone off for a second. And can I ask Sunil to close the presentation so we can see each other even better?
Yeah. Super.
So I see that Gracian Sionke and Anne Kind have joined us. Patricia van Rotsenhoven is there as well. So people are joining in. Don't be shy. You can turn on your cameras. It's nicer to have a one-on-one conversation. And there you go. Hello. Hello, everyone. It's nice to see your faces. I have a first question from Gracienne. Maybe if she'd like, she can ask the question herself. Otherwise, I'll ask Sunil myself. It doesn't matter. So.
Okay, thank you so much for the very clearly presentation, Mr. Thawani. I'm a big fan of the ASQ World Conference, and at one of those conferences, I've heard a lot about customer experience, customer satisfaction. It's a very interesting topic for me because we also have B2B customers as well as B2C customers. And for me, it was very clearly that there is a big difference between the expectation of a customer, the satisfaction, but also the experience. Still, I did not find a good tool or articles to align those three topics for one customer.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. I totally agree with you. Even I was struggling with one comprehensive book or something. Whatever I have learned and gained is by reading different articles, different publications, and research done by Harvard Business School, from McKinsey, from Accenture, and my own knowledge from quality management background, and also implementation. I've been implementing this for the last 8-9 years, and we really struggled a lot. In the meeting rooms, people will go into the department thinking, process thinking. It takes time, and I have done some assessments for the government, which is similar to EFQM, and I have seen many different types of customer journeys. But rising above that, I personally have realized that it is the customer who will tell us the most, actually. We have complaints, we got service. There are a lot of listening channels. We don't bring them under one platform and gain deep insights. Data is saying something. Focus group is saying something. Complaints are saying something. So we need to know that and redo the whole thing. My suggestion is make a start, use that version V1 and build on it as you go forward. It has a lot of value and benefit.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gracian. If there is anyone who'd like to ask a question to Sunil, might be the time now. I know that there was a question before on segmenting your clients and mapping it out, mapping a customer journey on those segments. So that question, was more or less a thought during the first poll. I don't know if Jeffrey Willem is still there, so might be able to
yes,
to ask a question to you.
Yeah, sorry, I'm still here. It was just because he asked that question. He mentioned segmentation. So we do what was wanted, but we don't do, let's say, a deep segmentation of our customers. Okay, country based, but not about the special customers and the special flavors you have. If you have in a B2B world more than 300 customers all over Europe, it's not that simple to do that segmentation and then do action specific for that customers. That was my my suggestion or my reflection on that question.
Yeah, Geoffrey, thank you so much. May I know you're from which industry or background, context?
Yeah. So I will change.
Are you from manufacturing? Are you from government or banking?
We are software developers, so we develop interfaces for clinical apps. Okay,
great. You see, I would like to, time is short. What I have in a separate presentation altogether only on this. In short, you see, typically organizations segment their customer on demographic profile. Let's say you are exporting to country A, B, C, D, or you are doing it for hospitals, clinic, pharmacies, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I request you look at the work of Dr. Christian Clayton.
Yeah.
Dr. Christensen Clayton. He has published a theory called jobs to be done theory. He was a Harvard Business School professor. His work has totally changed the whole thinking around segmentation. And he is the father of the disruptive innovation concept. Companies like Intel and world-renowned world-class company. They thank him for his work. Very sadly, he died last year at a young age of 60. But his work is absolutely landmark, and you need to read about the milkshake dilemma case study. Or if you want, I can connect with you separately about half an hour and walk you through that. So he's saying, understand what the job is customer is trying to do with your product or services, and then deliver that experience actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in short, I mean, I can't take more time, but it's a great work. I can connect with you separately if you reach out to me through LinkedIn or through Mr. Thomas or Anne.
Okay,
So
thank you. I saw a link, so I will have a look at that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, so I already left a little link on the milkshake method by Clay Christensen.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else who would like to make a little comment or a thought or a question, more than welcome to share. Or if you have an idea to share with the group, it's always welcome to do so. No one? All right. Maybe Anne can join us for a little thought or
I thought it was a delight, Sunil, to hear the story, and starting with the planes and ending with the alternative children's care, alternative care for children. Sorry, I struggle with the consequence of the words. Was very broad, and so I enjoyed the story. But unfortunately, it was so clear that I don't have any questions for you. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Well, pleasure to meet you, Anne. When I just for others, you know, me and Anne and another Anne who was there before you, we have been meeting for I think 10-15 years in ASQ World conferences year after year. It's my pleasure and joy to be invited by you people. Thank you so much.
Pleasure is all yours. And by the way, I live on 10 miles from Randst.
Yeah, we're not far away.
Okay, give my regards to her. Yeah.
Anyway, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. I'll send a little mail to all participants today with the presentation. Leave us some feedback, and there you go. Leave us some feedback, and we'll be sending you the presentation. And if you'd like more information on our following quality talks or on the VCK, you can always visit us on our website or send us a little mail. We'll be happy to answer you. So thanks to everyone for being here. Thank you to Mr. Thawani for the presentation, and we hope to see you again.
Yes, absolutely. I wish you all the best. And if you need any support, help, just reach out to me anytime through Mr. Thomas and our LinkedIn.
All right. Thank you.
And stay safe. Stay safe.
Great.
Yeah, stay safe.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye now. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.